Death comes like this, I think. Maybe not always, but sometimes. I had recently the most frightening encounter with Suzumibachi, the Asian giant hornet, yet in my experience in Japan. I was hiking in the mountains back behind me. They're low mountains, and so it wasn't really steep canyons, and I was on a mild trail, not very often used, and walking along slowly on a slight uphill incline. And when there was a tree, probably about as far as this one right here, from me right there. Not very far, I could touch it with the umbrella. And I was walking past slowly, and I stopped, and I noticed something moving in the corner of my eye. I noticed something moving on the tree, and I looked over, and the entire tree was a dead tree, was covered with Asian giant hornets, just everywhere. Probably, I mean, not covered, that's an exaggeration. There were probably a good 15 of them visible. There's a nest inside. The Asian giant hornets often nest on in these dead trees. I knew that. That's why I'm always careful around trees. Walk quietly, don't make a lot of noise, and don't wear black colors as I'm wearing today. And I stopped suddenly, and I looked over, and I saw I realized by proximity I was really close, and these 15 or so odd giants sitting there. And here's what happened. I don't know if I'm going to be able to capture this in words quite the same. And it's really maybe less, I think, about death, more about instinct. I looked over, and there were two hornets side by side on the tree, and it looked like they were kind of fighting one another, probably communicating or something. I don't know enough about hornet behavior. But I looked over, and one of them, this is when it happened, one of them suddenly looked up at me. I mean, they're big creatures. They looked up, you could see it look right at me. And here's what happened that really got me. It looked up at me, and it didn't wait. There was no thought involved. There was no time to think or consider for the synapses inside to look at me and say, what is this thing that's standing out there? Should I attack it? Should I investigate it? What should I do? It simply looked up, and in a moment, split second, whoom! It took off, and it came right at me, and the one next to it did the same thing. The two of them just lurched at me, whoom, coming right at me. I just turned, and I started running. I was sure I was going to get nailed this time, and there were 15 or so odd other hornets on the visible on the outside of the tree. Gosh only knows how many more there were inside. These creatures release pheromones to draw other hornets into the attack, and they can fly much faster than I can run, and fly far longer than I could. So if they wanted me, they would have had me. And I was dressed in shorts. I was not wearing dark clothes. I was wearing light clothes this time. But I ran, and I didn't get stung. They must have called off the chase. But the reason I started this video was not to talk about the attack itself, or feigned attack. It's warding me off. It was what got me was the way that their instinct kicked in. There was truly no time for thought. And I guess, a creature like that doesn't probably do much thinking. It really is instinct. And a lot of that's coming back to what I talk about a lot on my videos about the ideas of how we are, for the most part, maybe entirely, even our better thoughts, our seemingly more independent thoughts are simply expressions of the designed, designed by nature, designed by accident. The pathways in here that allow us to live. That the unique thought is something that maybe is impossible for me, as it seems to be for the Asian giant hornet. Here it comes again. So that, I hope I'm capturing it right. The thing that caught me the most in that whole story was the immediate response of the hornet to the situation, and how it came right after me in that moment. And I think that you can take that, and I think to apply that to largely to the state of biology in general. That a lot of what we think is our own really is nothing more than reaction, although it may seem a more complex type. Thanks for sharing my little story with me. Take care, everybody.